SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Second show in our brand new studio, and we're so excited to welcome our first guest digitally. Could it be a better guest? It's the hockey guy.
The hockey guy. Hey. How you doing, dude?
No raised expectations or anything.
No.
None. The cat's up, though.
Yeah, what's your cat's name?
That's Shadow. Normally Bear is here. I knew that if people watch this or from the channel, I thought about having all my jerseys in the background. I thought, no, it has to be the cats in the background or people are going to complain.
Yeah, you gotta. So you have a lot to consider, right? Or people will complain. We were just getting into all your Flyers gear, and so what was the initial outfit that you had to throw off? Because
I had
way.
my Canucks jersey on, but I realized looking at it on camera, I'm like, okay, so you can see through the Canucks jersey. You can see I'm wearing Flyers underneath, so that doesn't work. So I had to just wear the Flyers t-shirt instead because I've had people say that shirt showing through this one. So what are you doing? And yeah, so
You couldn't possibly.
It's
How
amazing
dare you.
the heat you take for giving away content. Like
Right.
it's unbelievable.
It's hours of entertainment for free, and people still find a way to complain.
this is true.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, for anybody that doesn't know the hockey guy, and listen, it felt like every person that listens to our show watches you, and so I, for anybody that has not heard of Shannon, it says on Wikitubia, which is actually a website, that you started in 2015. Is that true?
Yes.
And it says essentially, here's the rundown. I'm not sure if you've ever read this. Shannon Skeins, better known as the Hockey Guy, is a Canadian YouTuber known predominantly for his daily videos on the National Hockey League. He owns over 250 jerseys from various teams and does a yearly countdown of his favorites. His videos do attempt to provide unbiased views of all teams, although he admits that he is a fan of the Canucks, Stars, and Bruins. True?
Oh,
Yeah, that's all accurate.
All accurate.
Canucks Bruins is tough.
Yeah, 2011 was tough. 2011 was very tough.
Who did you give the edge to?
I wanted the Canucks to win, but since I knew a lot of Canuck fans that were before that final, they were like, "Oh, we're going to destroy the Bruins." And I'm like, "Okay, now they're pretty good. No, we're the best." And I'm like, "Okay." The one that really made me laugh when people kept saying, "Well, EA Sports, they simulated the cup," and I'm like, "No, you lost
Oh
me to
no.
EA Sports."
I mean, that's fun, but it doesn't tell you anything.
That's not going to tell you how it actually works out. So, yeah, it was kind of a tough time. And then I couldn't wear a Bruins jersey locally for at least a year.
I like to think that moratorium's still on. I don't think you can.
It depends where I am.
Really? Okay, so you have to tell, like, which parts of Vancouver is okay, and then which parts.
Well, no, like I've gone to Vancouver, Boston games, and it's funny because if, let's say, the Canucks are nowhere near a playoff spot, and the Bruins are it's a really important game for the Bruins. Well, I will say, okay, I hope the Bruins win tonight, and I don't mind wearing Bruins gear to the Canucks game, but that doesn't necessarily go over all that well with some of the fans. So,
And I bet they recognize you.
they would now, but they didn't say 4 years ago, the first time that I wore Bruins gear to a Canucks game. So
That's you're a braver man than I.
Yeah.
I don't think I would do that.
I remember there was a guy right behind me that was about 6'5" wearing a Bruins jersey. I'm like, can you just hang out with me tonight? Because
He was one of the healthy scratches. Yeah.
So I'm so curious about your career because, I mean, you're not a teenager on YouTube. You're, you're well, Steve essentially was when he started, and you started in 2015, and your channel's blown up, and people absolutely adore you. But did you come onto YouTube with a goal in mind? And what was your career beforehand? Like, I got to know everything.
I worked in manual labor for like 20 years. So I think one advantage that I have in doing this at my age is that I understand all the crappy jobs out there. I see some of the younger YouTubers that hit it big. I think sometimes they're a little bit out of touch, but like, I know, like, I appreciate everything that I've got. Like, when I started doing the YouTube videos, it was just a way of blowing off steam after a long day of work. And then I monetized a video and I made like 10 cents on it.
Ooh.
And like I said to some friends of mine at work, I said, I made $1 on YouTube yesterday. And they're like, yeah, but you made $100 working here. And I was like, yeah, but I made that dollar not working here.
Right. Right.
I like that dollar because if I can make that $20, that's an hour's, almost like a little bit over an hour's work. So I thought it was a fun hobby, and I never intended for it to blow. I'm still surprised it's blown up. I'm still thrown off when people approach me in public. So it's still weird.
So Steve has like certain peaks over the course of his channel of where you kind of exploded. It was like 7-2 Nashville, David Ayers. Like there's a course of videos that made you grow. On your channel, what are the big videos that really made you take off?
Big videos that made me take off. I know when Vegas came in, there was a lot of the Vegas stuff because, and then with Seattle coming in, that really helped this summer. I try to make sure that the content is friendly for people who are getting into hockey. Mm-hmm. I've found that there's a lot of gatekeeping in hockey, so people may be embarrassed to ask really simple questions about the game, like stuff we take for granted. Mm-hmm. A new fan of the game might be, well, I don't understand offside. I don't understand. Okay, so icing. So how does that work? And they may not feel like they're comfortable asking people, but I try to make sure I don't talk down to them. And the expansions definitely helped. Stanley Cup Finals definitely helped. And if a team like Carolina's going on a run, I might be one of the few channels that's covering it because everybody covers, Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver. They've got a lot of coverage. So I think it's kind of a mix of things. Mm-hmm. I know that draft time and free agency, though, the channel just explodes. That's the week that my wife and I are locked down because we know it's going to be really busy.
So I have a couple things there. One, I'm jealous of you that you started in 2015. I have no regrets about my career, but I was doing a deep dive on some of my stats Jesse just brought up. The first year I made $1,000 was 2014. I started in 2007. So I was making nothing off my channel.
And I don't know what happened. I absolutely, honestly, I have no idea. And it's really weird to me. I know we were down in Disneyland last January, and I thought, okay, well, I'm in Disneyland. I'm in California. Nobody's going to know who I am. So I'm walking around all Jedi'd up with my lightsaber. Yeah. And some guy points and goes, hey, you're the hockey guy. And I'm like, what? I'm in Disneyland. Like, Chewbacca's behind you. What? No, So, yeah, that really threw me off.
Did you actually dress up and go? Because I desperately want to go so bad. Oh, yeah. And you went.
When I went to Disneyland, I got the big expensive experience with the lightsaber, and my wife's made me a whole Jedi outfit. So yeah, I nerded out. And even then it was, oh, you're the hockey guy. Seriously, I'm not.
Yeah. No, I'm the Jedi guy. Excuse me.
Yeah, today. I
am. Well, the thing I think that is so. Did you want to add up?
Well, yeah, because you mentioned your wife, and I'm jealous of you from a content creator standpoint because you fire off content like a bazooka, just so much. So, can you explain a day in the content creation of the hockey guy?
So. Right now, because it's the off season, I'll usually have a couple of boards ready for the morning after. So right now I've got a Boston playoff video ready. I'm going to do a video on Sandis Ozolinsh.
Nice.
And yeah, it's a fun name to say. So I'm like, I've got to do a video on Sandis Ozolinsh.
He was great.
I've already done a video on Urbe, so it's a lot being connection. And then from there, I babysit all of my social media. I make sure that my wife does a lot of that too. And then I'm just, making sure there's a news video if I need it. I've always got series going. And part of that too was that when I was meeting people, and especially in Las Vegas, it really opened my eyes to how widespread the audience was. There were a lot of people telling me that there were people going through health problems, people going through depression, that said my daily videos really helped them. So that's why I don't take a day off. That's why I make sure I'm making enough content, to make sure that I'm satisfying every fan base too. Mm-hmm. So if you're a Flyers fan, there should be a video on the channel where Flyers are discussed, during the off season at least once a week kind of thing, or, somewhere once every 10 days. So it's me trying to balance. I mean, like we had to get the whole jersey racks all fixed up. We put up brand new racking.
Gee.
Wow.
Almost a month ago. Yeah, and there's and then behind there's just as much.
Oh my God.
Oh wow.
I'm like, and so I'm doing a jersey countdown, and this year I was like, okay, so how many do I do? And so I'm doing all 485.
How many?
That I have.
Jeez.
So
YouTubepedia or whatever I just came, they said you had 250 plus, not 450.
It's at least double.
Wow.
It's at least double, because I've also got I've got geeky jerseys for my other channel, which is like Star Wars and Doctor Who and all that other stuff. So yeah, I don't even count those. That's on my other set.
This is the thing that, the thing I love about you, Shannon, and is that there's this is instant feeling of not that I know you, but that I know you, or that I know that we'd get along. And I think that's I can understand why your channel's blown up, because you go through and you read the comment sections, and it's like everybody talks to you like they're your close personal friend. And what you're attempting to do with this YouTube channel, and successfully doing, is mind-blowing, because when you look at how a sports network is run, they tend to focus on key markets that generate the most, either stories or they're the biggest, right? So in the case of the NHL and in Canada, obviously Toronto gets the lion's share because, there's a third of the population's in the Golden Horseshoe. It's huge here. Montreal is Montreal. We know they're a huge story. But Edmonton gets a lot because they're always sort of in the news for the wrong reasons, and they have the best player on earth. And I feel bad for cities like Winnipeg. Ottawa's always in the news when Eugene talks, but other than that, you kind of feel bad because there's so much good happening there. Even Vancouver sometimes gets left in the dust, which is really unfair. And so what you're doing, and you look at American networks in basketball and football, they're focused on LA, Miami, New York, Chicago. You're trying to go after everybody all at once, which even the big guys, ESPN, TNT, TSN, Sportsnet, they don't do that. And so they don't do that to the same level. So I have to say, full marks. I don't even know if I have a fucking question. It's just like, it's amazing. It really is.
What's the strategy behind that? How do you do that?
Well, it really was a matter of me saying, okay, so if you are a fan right now, like I know as somebody who I've always liked the Dallas Stars, Minnesota North Stars, sometimes it's hard for me to find news regarding the Dallas Stars and Minnesota North Stars. And when I was starting out, I thought, there are underserved markets. So while I make less money off of a video talking about Dallas or Carolina or Arizona, unless it's about Arizona moving, those ones do very well. But if it's about Arizona's day-to-day stuff, it doesn't do that well. But the way I see it is I'm converting subscribers, and it's more likely that people are going to say, hey, so this guy's actually talking about our team too. Mm-hmm. So when the channel was taking off and I started watching more hockey, I realized too that I had to watch every team equally. So during a regular season, I might be a Canucks fan, but I don't watch them more than anybody else. So I make sure I'm watching every game as much as I can, following all the storylines from the games. So while I'm watching, I've got my phone loaded up. I've got, people telling me on Discord if stuff's going on too. So I try to consume as much as I can from every team equally.
Wow.
And I know your subscribers love you very much, because they will often go to my channel and tell me I'm not you. Which every time I look in the mirror, I go, still not Shannon. Yeah. Got it. Still Steve. No, because I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll be frank. There was a long time where, because of reading those comments, I thought you didn't like me.
Oh yeah. See, I had to. There was at one point, it was like this. So I'm really into Cobra Kai right now, and it sort of felt like my subscribers were one dojo and they were going over to other channels to pick fights, and I actually had to make a video at one point saying, okay guys, knock it off. Right. Like, I know you guys went to this channel or that channel. Stop. That's not me. I don't approve of any of that. I think it's ridiculous when channels are all feuding with each other and creating drama. So knock it off. So I would tell them, I don't want to see you on Steve's channel. I don't want to see you on Post. I don't want to see you guys on any of those channels, because they're working hard. They're in the same sphere, sure, but just, if you like my content, fine, but that's it. Don't go around making trouble.
I'm just trying to picture you in an actual like argument with like Coach Jeremy, like just two really angry guys, you know, two really easy to rise, hot tempers, you know. They freak out after every Leafs loss, for sure. No, I'm very glad.
But part of it too is that I'm older. It's sort of like as a Canuck fan. I know there's Canuck fans that don't like me because my attitude is basically I'm going to die before they win a Stanley Cup. But that's 40 plus years of watching them where I'm like, they're going to die before I win a Stanley Cup. It's not that I'm a downer. It's just, this is reality. I've accepted it. They will never win a Stanley Cup as long as I'm alive. I'm the problem. So,
it's good to know that we're in the same boat. We're the exact same. We believe the same thing, right?
But then people will be like, "You're always so down on the Canucks." No, I like the Canucks. I really do, but I don't think they're ever going to win because I'm so used to watching them. There's only so, like I always say in videos, there's only so many times you can watch the movie Titanic before you realize the boat's not going to miss the iceberg.
Which one of us charges who for the therapy session here?
This is good. It's nice to know we're not alone.
Who invoices who? Oh my God, man.
I watch the Canucks in the playoffs. So teams I cheer for in the playoffs. I used to do the live reactions during the games, and people would be upset because the Canucks would allow a goal, and I'd go, "Yep." They'd be like, "You didn't even react," and I'm like, "Because I kind of expected it." So, all right, so they lost. So there you go. I didn't even get a reaction out of him. Yeah, because I expected it. It's 40 years of watching them. That's about right.
I think you have found an inner peace that the man sitting to my left, your right, could potentially maybe consider. Because, Shannon, when I watch a game with Steve, and Jesse will back me up on this one, yeah, I've seen him throw his phone like over game 3 of the season. Like he's so pent up and built up, and you're like, well, it happens.
The last time I did that was 2011 Stanley Cup Final, Vancouver, Boston, and it was Game 6, and Boston beat the hell out of them, and I lost it. And I remember my girlfriend at the time asking me, "Why are you so mad?" And I said, "Because they lost it tonight. They will not win Game 7. They're done. That's it." And I was throwing stuff, I was screaming the whole bit. Like, I was so mad at Game 6 because that was the Canucks' chance to win the Stanley Cup, and I felt like they completely blew it. And that was really, really tough for me because I like Boston, of course. That's I cheer for Boston, but I really desperately wanted to see Vancouver win that Stanley Cup, and I wanted Luongo to get that Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
because this market was terrible to Roberto Luongo, and sort of reminds me of Boston fans now with Rask, but it was so hard. And I think that was the game that kind of broke me, where after that it was kind of like, okay, I can't get emotionally invested like that again because they're just going to let me down. So I don't think Steve's got there yet, unless the Montreal series did that.
I don't think so.
No, not quite.
So.
Not quite. So with today's team, which we are, like, you talk about teams that we're disproportionately obsessed with, that's us and the Canucks. Because they're fascinating. I could see a world where they're very good. I could see a world where they're very bad. There's so much in flux, it seems. They have a GM who loves his phone.
July 1st.
On July 1st and never, ever any other time. What do you make of this current squad?
It really could go either way. I mean, if you told me right now, if you said, hey, so they're going to finish 7th in the Pacific, they're going to struggle, I wouldn't be that surprised. But on the other hand, because the Pacific is and whether this is reality or perception, is perceived as weak, they could finish as high as 3rd. I don't think Edmonton or Vegas are catchable for Vancouver. I think they're going to be the top 2. But a lot of it's going to depend on Ekman-Larsson, where they're figuring he's going to be a number 1 again. I don't really see that. I watched him a lot in Arizona last year, and I even kept saying in reviews, I'm really glad the Canucks didn't get OEL, because he's just not OEL anymore. And it's just, Chychrun was the one that was really keeping that blue line together in Arizona. So I've got concern. I love Garland. The one voice in the back of my head, and being Toronto fans, you'd hear this too, is when you're looking at a team's put together and you go, okay, there's the skill. Is there enough sandpaper? Is there enough here that when the games get really physical, they can answer the bell? And I'm not sure that the Canucks necessarily have that. That's where I have concern. And of course, the blue line, it feels like Benning went out and signed everybody similar to what, and Toronto does this too, right? Where Dubas will just, here's 8 guys, and then he walks out. Here's 8 new guys, but I don't know if there's a blue line there that's solid enough for Vancouver that they end up finishing third. It is really, really unpredictable this year.
What Dubas tends to do, and I don't know if it's like this in Vancouver, here's 8 guys who might as well just share a jersey. Because
it's the fourth liners, it's third pairing, it's for instance Luke Shen. I like Luke Shen, as long as they don't overplay him, which was a problem they had with Jordy Ben. When Jordy Ben, they ended up overplaying him. Is Hamonic a top 4 is a question that people ask a lot. I don't know.
Is Tyler Myers?
I you know what? Myers drove me absolutely insane with all the penalties against Minnesota in the qualifying round last year's playoffs, but this year I thought he was better. I don't know. I'm not sold on that blue line. I was fine with Edler leaving, but we'll see. Like Pullman, it feels like might be a bit high, but again, it depends on, then the analytics crowd will say no, he did well. Morris, he had problems when he wasn't on his pairing. So yeah, I'm optimistic, but fingers are definitely crossed on that one.
You brought up something, and I want to go back to it. Roberto Luongo. And it's funny because I don't think I've ever seen, I know the Sedins had a ton of people with jerseys, but outside of Vancouver, which is where I've spent the majority of my life, the Vancouver Canuck jersey I see the most is Roberto Luongo's. And I'm curious about your thoughts about his time there, because you wanted him to get a cup. You said specifically because the market was so terrible to him. Was it the fans? Was it the media? What happened? What is that?
There was a lot of okay, the Canucks could win a game 3-2, and the complaint would be, well, that second goal he should have had it. I'm like, okay, seriously, he made 25 saves. So people would focus on he did allow a goal on the first shot often enough that it became a topic of conversation. Mm-hmm. And once he signed that huge contract, the expectation became, well, if we lost the game, that's because of him. So I was always having arguments, this is way before I had a channel, with people where I'd say, well, no, the defense in front of him was crap. Like the series against Chicago, right? Chicago lights up Luongo. But almost every shot Chicago had was right between the hash marks. Vancouver's shots were almost all from the blue line or from the outside. So you're comparing apples to oranges. Crawford looked great because Vancouver wasn't getting those prime shots. Chicago was just teeing off from in front of the net. And because of Luongo's contract, the expectation was he would stop everything. And I always thought that was unfair. And it does remind me of the same argument I have with Boston fans, where Tuukka Rask can have 6 or 7 really good games in a row and they'll still wait. And then he has that one bad game and they go, see, guy sucks. He's a bum.
Boston fans told us exactly that when we were down there. What was it, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
We didn't know them.
And we're like, you're the goalie you hate is better than the goalie we love.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It was also our goalie at one point.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that except for every episode.
So there's so many things I want to ask, but I want to ask from an outsider's perspective with the Toronto Maple Leafs. What is it? What player are we lucky to have that we don't appreciate on the same level as Roberto Luongo?
Right now, I would say that the amount of hate that Mitch Marner's had in the offseason is bloody ridiculous. I have had so many people saying, well, he didn't have a goal. Well, he's not there to be he's the passer. The guy that's supposed to be scoring the goals is Matthews. Nylander's supposed to have the goal scoring. Like, Marner's the guy doing the setups. And what I saw in the playoffs, I thought Marner was playing relatively well. They couldn't bury it. But I think the amount of hate Marner gets, and it's kind of the same thing, I think. I think his cap hit eats into it. I think if his cap hit was lower, maybe we'd hear it less. Mm-hmm. Marner's fantastic. I have a Marner jersey. If he's ever available, I would be quite happy to see him on any team I cheer for. He is absolutely one of the best passers in the National Hockey League. And I'm stunned. And then even Riley's UFA next summer, and I see people going, just let him go. We can replace him. With who? Where? How? I've always laughed at fans. They're like,
don't look at me,
Adam Wild.
All I'm saying is we can't re-sign him. We don't have the money, so you better move him so you can find something back.
Adam's not saying let him walk. He's saying,
no, I'm
right.
Don't let him walk away like you did with Gardner's less so, but like JVR and Bozak and all these other guys who just walked in, then you just don't. Now you have negative value. That's my point, right? Everybody thought I hated Riley.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But the idea that he just sucks and he's easily replaced because of the advanced stats saying whatever they say, that I don't. Riley's a really good defenseman.
Okay. So then, what is the most annoying thing about Leaf fans on the whole?
Ooh,
if there was a complaint, number one, and I'm sure there's a complaint list that's 20 or 30 pages long. What's the most annoying thing about dealing with Leaf fans, talking to Leaf fans, other fans of other markets complaining about Leaf fans? What's your perception?
Being on the same planet.
Yeah.
I think with Leaf fans, I think because there's so many of them, I think that it's a really vocal minority that ends up making others look bad. The ones that, and I get a kick out of them, are that, Freddie Anderson would have a good week and they'd be like, see, he deserves the Vezina and we're going to win the cup. Okay, settle down. And then a week later, Freddie Anderson's had a couple of bad games and you're like, that's it, we suck, we're dead. We're dead. We should just go for the number one draft pick. There's no in between. And it just feels very reactionary. But I think with Leaf fans, I think it's just there's so many of them, because I see that in a lot of fan bases anyways. I know I'll segue that into Montreal, in that, a couple weeks ago I did a season preview for Montreal, and I said I want to see Kotkaniemi have more offense and a little more consistency, and some Montreal fans were saying I was too harsh in my comments. Those same fans, when Carolina signs that offer sheet, go, well, he sucks, he's a bum anyways, let him go.
Yep, seen a bunch of that.
Yeah.
So, it's that overly reactionary side of it that I think we see with Toronto fans. And the one thing I have to say too that's always funny is I'll see people saying, well, I'm a Leaf fan, but you're a Canuck fan, what do you know? No, you can't troll the Canucks, because we do that. That's
same. Thank you.
Yes. Absolutely.
No one hates the Leafs more than Leaf fans.
Yeah,
honestly.
You think you hate the Leafs? I cheer for them.
Yeah. And shit, I think that's so great. And again, that's the most you answer that there could be to something like that. Because if I ask that in Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Winnipeg, it doesn't matter. Or any of the American cities, they go, you guys are just a bunch of assholes. And what you did is you actually broke it down and was like, well, here's why you come across as assholes.
Yeah.
I don't want to call you one, but it's sort of, and that I really appreciate. And I think that's the magic of you as a personality, is that you're able to kind of break it down. Okay, let's take the emotion out of it for a second. Everybody calm down. And it was a real and measured and completely reasonable response.
How dare you?
Because I know a lot of Toronto fans that aren't crazy. So, it's funny because my stepdaughter, who could have picked any team in the world, and she's a Leafs fan, and I'm like, oh, you poor thing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, do you know the pain that? But that's her call, and that just shows I have no influence on the children whatsoever.
Which I love. That's funny.
Every time Boston's playing Toronto, she'll be like, "Go Toronto," and I'm like, "You're doing this. Why don't you put on a Boston jersey? Why are you,
Why are you doing this?" Yeah. So you cover everybody. I want to know, who has you the most intrigued heading into this season? It could be because they're good, they're bad, they're interesting.
Seattle's going to be one heck of an interesting team, just as a first-year team, because of the Vegas effect of everybody's going to have greater expectations on an expansion team. The one I'm interested in is Columbus, because I know they dump off Seth Jones. I know they traded out Cam Atkinson. I think they got good value for Seth Jones. I think their blue line is pretty good. If their goaltending holds up, I think they're going to stay in some games, and I think they could surprise some people, because they did it a couple years ago too, where people were like, oh, well, Columbus is dead because Panarin left and Bobrovsky left, and they still made the playoffs. So Columbus, I think, is potentially going to break my bracket for where I had everybody in the regular season, and I think they could surprise some people, because I don't think they're really a bad team on paper.
I also don't think they're done. It's too quiet.
Okay, so way too early prediction from the two of you. What happens before the season starts?
They have to trade Eichel, don't they?
Yeah, I think Frege on 31 Thoughts mentioned them, and I guess by virtue of they're the Columbus Blue Jackets, it's way more fun to discuss Eichel going to Montreal.
Or New York.
Mm-hmm. But Exactly. I think Eichel could end up as a Blue Jacket because we've been talking about who their number one center is going to be for too long. I really do think that could happen.
So is it Laine going the other way? Like, what do they give up?
It'd have to be picks, prospects, maybe Chinahov. Yeah, I don't think Buffalo's going to get value because of the neck issues with Eichel. And then it's a matter of finding a team whose doctors either allow him to have the surgery or talk him out of the surgery that he wants to have. And I would think that has to happen before the trade.
I think everyone's dug in. I think he's going to get his surgery come hell or high water.
Okay. All right. This is good. I like this.
Yeah.
I'm, that's a fascinating story, and the agent switching and all of that stuff too with Eichel is very, very interesting. Shannon, I want to know what your super interesting story that no one's paying attention to, I guess, besides Eichel to Columbus. What's the story that's really got you captivated in the NHL that you're not really seeing enough coverage for?
You know what's kind of funny is that Ottawa had an excellent second half of the season, but because the perception was that the North sucked, nobody's really paid attention to it since the season ended. I think Ottawa's got a really exciting young team, and I think they could be a lot of fun to watch. And then what are they going to do about their building? Like, we haven't heard anything in a while, and we know that Melnick's not happy with where they're at and that they need something downtown. And I think while we're all talking about Arizona, I think Ottawa definitely needs to do something with their building. They need to do something, and not just tarp off seats either, but just it is interesting because they have this really exciting young team. And then the question mark becomes, and I think we're going to find out with Tkachuk and Batherson, are they going to spend the money now to keep that core together that they weren't willing to do 5 years ago?
Yeah, because that Tkachuk, that's not done yet. And the question, I think they were talking about it this morning in local radio there up there. It's like, is he going to show up at camp? I think Sean Simpson was talking about that, and it's like
there's a lot.
Well, and so my question is, you go to camp without a contract. Are you insured? What happens if you get an injury?
I'm pretty sure you would be. I'm pretty sure you would be.
Okay.
Because guys on tryouts would be, right?
Right. Okay.
Oh yeah.
But then what if you get hurt? It's hockey. It's chaos. Anything can happen. You can snap anything. You could get a puck to the mouth. Like whatever it is. Like you can. I can't see him stepping on the ice without a contract.
NHLPA is pretty useless, but I don't know if they're that useless.
Okay.
As long as you're in the league, they seem to care.
Right.
Once you're out of the league, not as much.
Can I ask about the biggest story right now? What do you think happens with Kotkaniemi and Carolina? Does Montreal match? How does that end?
I don't know how Montreal could let him go right after Dano left. Dano left, and one of the selling points was Kotkaniemi's going to step into a top center spot. They can't have Jake Evans as their number 2 center. So I don't see how they can't without having a backup. And so, of course, that's why people speculate that Bergevin would let it go and then maybe sign an offer sheet on Pettersson. But he's already going to have cap problems if they sign Kotkaniemi.
Right.
So it's going to be messy one way or the other. And of course, you can take draft picks. You get the first and third in exchange for Kotkaniemi and use those to maybe bolster your center spot. But I don't know. Montreal is going to be interesting too, because without Weber and with the downgrades they've had, I just don't see how they make the playoffs this year.
And so that's super interesting, right? That's a story that's sort of under the radar of they certainly are riding a high, and deservedly so. But the conversation has not been out there about. Is this team actually good enough? Are they? Because remember, going into the playoffs, I know they beat the Leafs. I get that they beat the Leafs. I totally understand that they beat the Leafs. But you watch that series and you go, did Montreal beat the Leafs or did the Leafs choke? My opinion, the Leafs choked. Yes, Montreal won. I think the Leafs choke. And beyond that, Carey Price he was making AHL conditioning stints before that. And that's dangerous, right?
They only won 24 games last season out of 56. So they didn't have a great regular season either, and it was Vancouver helped get them in because they were 6-0-3 against Vancouver. Mm-hmm. So that definitely helped. That we gave them Toffoli and a playoff spot. Didn't even get
Man.
Ooh, well, you ran out of time. Just ran out of time to sign him.
Yeah, I think we're being a little too insular about the RFA conversation. So I like what you said. I don't want it to be this war back and forth between Carolina and Montreal. I want Montreal to go, all right, okay, so these are fine now? These are fine now? And they turn around, and it doesn't have to be Pettersson, but anybody. That would make it nice and spicy. I was thinking on the way here, and what do you think about this? Dahlin. Because I want to get into a war with the Buffalo Sabres, because whoever the offer sheet on my team, I'm taking the picks because I know they're going to be garbage.
You know, Dahlin is an absolutely excellent defenseman. He had a really rough first half of the season. He picked it up a lot in the second half. I think he's ready to really blow it up. I think that's hard in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. I think he would be a pretty smart pick because again, Buffalo wants more draft picks. They're clearly tearing it down before they're done the rebuild, which is weird enough. But that definitely seems to be what's going on there. So you could probably make an offer they'd have a hard time matching.
Okay, so and we won't keep you for too much longer. The reason I was paying attention to my computer is that nobody has the new division alignment with the Coyotes moving to the Central posted their website yet. Not Sportsnet, not the NHL.com. I had to go to ESPN to get it because what I want, Shannon, is your way too early division winners for each division. And I know this is completely unfair and nobody's going to hold you to this, but since you're the guy following literally every team, I want to know what you think about the Atlantic, the Metropolitan, the Central, and the Pacific.
No one's going to hold them to this.
I'm going to hold you to it a little bit.
The Pacific is relatively easy because I think it's Vegas' division to lose. If Vegas doesn't finish first, there's going to be a lot of comments about how maybe they've passed their window. Like, they have to win that division. I think Colorado is still good enough to win the division in the Central, although that's going to depend on the health of Darcy Kemper. A lot of that's going to depend on Darcy Kemper's health because I'm kind of nervous about the goaltending behind him. The Metro, I kind of threw my hands in the air when it came to the Metro when I was doing my season previews, and I went with Washington as being first because they're usually excellent during the regular season. And yet I kind of wanted to put the Islanders first, but I was like, no, the Islanders are usually the playoff team, not necessarily the regular season team.
That's fair.
And then in the Atlantic, I'm going with Tampa because they've won the Cup 2 times in a row. I think they're still the best team in the division, but my dark horse, the one that could surprise everybody, could end up being Florida.
Yeah.
So
I almost passed out. I thought you were about to say Toronto. You said like Tampa. I was like, what?
Yeah, I don't see Toronto being first, but I think
No.
Toronto, if they were in the Pacific, I think they'd have a shot at first place because I think the Pacific is pretty, at least, again, before we get into the season, just on paper, it doesn't look like a very strong division.
who is your dark horse team that is going to blow people away that no one's talking about?
Oh, geez.
Hershey.
I could see if Minnesota gets the whole Kaprizov thing figured out, I could see them being really, really exciting to watch and really tough to beat. I think with last season, I think there were a lot of fans who were just watching their own division, so they weren't necessarily paying too much attention to the other divisions. I think Minnesota played a really fun, exciting, up-tempo style every time Kaprizov was on the ice. It was so weird because you'd be watching a Minnesota game and you'd be bored and going to sleep like normal for a Minnesota game. And he'd be like, hey, stuff's happening. What's going on? Oh, 97's on the ice. Got it. And then he'd go off the ice and he'd be nodding off again. I think if they can find that energy on every line, I think they could really surprise some people.
Guys wearing 97, running the league.
Yeah, no kidding.
He really did. He helped change the identity of that team. Like they became this. I don't know. They were branded as exciting, but you're still saying
he made Victor Rask look really good. I was like, Victor Rask is fantastic.
He's special, and I loved watching Twitter the other day when there was that whole thing about him taking a picture in a Siberian airport. I think he's gone to visit some family, and people were like, "Well, we lost him. He's going back to the K." And I think he was just visiting family or something. Michael Russo was all over that.
Can you imagine a Russian being in Russia?
I know, weird, right? Especially a cold part of Russia. Imagine. Anyway, listen, Shannon, the hockey guy, however you know him, it's been a pleasure sort of getting to know you. And I say sort of getting to know you. in that, like, I hope that we get out to Vancouver one of these days and actually get to have a beer with you. And beyond all that, congratulations on all the success on your channel. Your fans are great. You're great. And thank you for making time for us today.
Thank you very much.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Check out BetterHelp.com/SDP. Now, we all know life is full of stressors, and it really doesn't matter who you are or what you have. Your life is probably stressful. It can be your boss. It can be your friends. It can be your family. It really doesn't matter. You don't have to be down and out and depressed or feeling like everything's at a total loss. But if your stress is high and you're finding your temper's a bit shorter than usual, or maybe you're starting to feel the strain of your relationships, you could probably use the chance to unload that stress, get it out, and talk to somebody who's unbiased about your life, somebody who isn't going to judge you. BetterHelp is customized for just that. It's online therapy that offers video, phone, and live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to have anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's also much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Unload the stressors and get some unbiased feedback. You'd be pretty surprised what you might gain from it. See if it's for you. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and SDP listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/SDP. That's BetterHelp.com/SDP. There's a lot of reasons why you might be losing sleep. Is it the fact that there's an election in Canada right now? Or if you're in the States, is it the fact that you just got over an election and that was pretty exhausting? Is it the pandemic? Is it your love life? Is it drama that you just can't control? Whatever it is, trust me, I've been there. I know what it's like not to get a great sleep. We know what it's like not to get a great sleep. And Helix wants to help you out with that. So Helix is really interesting because they've got a quiz. It takes 2 minutes to complete, and it matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. So, why would you buy a mattress for somebody else that's made for somebody else? With Helix, you're going to get a mattress that will be perfect for the way you sleep. Everybody's unique, and Helix knows that. So they have several different mattress models for you to choose from: soft, medium, firm, mattresses that are great for cooling you down, which is something I need because I'm a sweaty boy, and Helix Plus for people who are plus size sleepers. I took the Helix quiz. I was matched with a mattress that, like I told you, helped me cool down, and I sleep on my face. I know that's really bad for you, and if you're a chiropractor and you're listening, I'm sorry, but that's just how I get my best sleep, and Helix matched me with a mattress that helps me with that. It's been awesome seeing all the unboxing Helix videos too. You should check out some of those online. If you're looking for a mattress, just go to helixsleep.com/SDP, take their 2-minute sleep quiz. It's super easy, and they're going to match you with the mattress for you so that you can get the best sleep of your life. And Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders, plus 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/SDP. That's helixsleep.com/SDP for up to $200 off and 2 free pillows. One of the things we've sort of been robbed of over the last couple of years, really, it's like 17, 18 months since COVID hit, is the ability to go to special events, to attend things where you get to look sharp and feel sharp and see your friends and celebrate and enjoy. And it's time for that again. It's time to feel sharp again. It's time to look sharp again. And that's why you should check out Indochino, because Indochino offers completely custom fitted suits, shirts, casual wear, and more surprisingly, it's the price. You won't believe how great the pricing is. Every piece is made to your exact measurement, and you can customize every detail. We're talking about the fabric, the lapel, the monogram, statement linings. You can create a suit that fits you and fits your style, and this is important, fits the event. And the best part is Indochino suits start at $399 with all customizations included. You can check out Indochino, which is now open at Nordstrom stores, select ones across the country, giving you even more ways to get great fitting, personalized clothing, and, of course, great prices. Find your nearest location at Indochino.com. And right now, you can get $50 off any purchase of $399 or more by using the code SDP. That's $50 off a purchase of $399 or more at INDOCHINO.com. Promo code SDP. It's been a long, tough couple of years, hasn't it? You deserve some rest. You deserve some relaxation. You deserve comfort. Fall into comfort and make it a top priority this season. And who's more of an expert about that than Brooklinen? It's time to save big and invest in your comfort during Brooklinen's Labor Day sale. It's happening now. Brooklinen makes beautiful, high-quality bedding and everything you need to make a house a home. Brooklinen makes bedding for every kind of sleeper, whether you sleep hot like I do or cold like my girlfriend does or somewhere in the middle. They got you covered. And it doesn't stop there. If your bedroom is all set, make every day a spa day with a choice selection of excellent absorbent towels available in a number of colors. Brooklinen has over 80,000 five-star reviews and counting, and there's a reason for that. Freshen up your fall with Brooklinen and your one-stop shop for comfort. You can shop the Labor Day savings event now for savings on all things comfort. And if you can't decide right now, you can invest your comfort with the promo code SDP anytime. That's brooklinen.com, promo code SDP for $20 off. Check it out. brooklinen.com, promo code SDP. Sign up today with BetMGM, the exclusive betting partner of The Athletic, and get a $1,000 risk-free bet plus a free 3-month subscription to The Athletic. Just sign up at betmgm.com/2pod, TWOPOD, and take advantage of this special offer from the king of sportsbooks. That's betmgm.com/2pod, TWOPOD. New customer offer, paid in bonus dollars. Visit betmgm.com for terms and conditions.
Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, or West Virginia only. Excludes Michigan disassociated persons. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 in Colorado, Nevada, and Virginia. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help in Michigan. 1-800-GAMBLER in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. And 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. In Tennessee, call or text the red line at 800-889-9789. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. Promotional offer not available in Nevada.
Attention listeners across the galaxy, all the way from Australia to Houston, do we have a pube problem? Well, if so, our friends at Manscaped have cleared you for takeoff with their 4th generation and brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Kick your pubes to the next planet with their Performance Package 4.0. The orbits in your pants will feel like they're in zero gravity when you use the best tool for the job for the leaders in male grooming. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped to get that rocket in your pocket, ready for takeoff. And go to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code DANGLE, DANGLE. Inside your package, you'll find the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold the whole solar system. The 4th generation trimmer also features cutting-edge ceramic blades to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multifunction on-off switch that can engage, an LED light, and of course, it's waterproof, and that's really important. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code DANGLE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code DANGLE, DANGLE, at manscaped.com. For the clean trinity and beyond, your Spaceballs will thank you. So, first up, that was fun.
Oh yeah,
That was really fun.
I'm glad our war is over.
Yeah, 2 of the nicest guys. He's so wholesome.
Yeah.
And like 2 of the nicest guys in the world. Yeah, go to war. I'm glad that when he talked about posting that video, like telling people to knock it off, I'm glad he did that because a lot of people don't do that. And I don't know, there seems to be sometimes, and I think a lot of the bigger YouTubers do this because it's great theater. But there seems to be a lot of like, it is like, you know, where they like, they're always, who's the, James Charles who's always fighting someone?
Well,
like they're all
James
always
Charles is the president of being problematic.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. and obviously like, you just see it, they're all, and I feel like a lot of the time it's all theater. I don't believe most of it. But on this level, it's like, no, we're all just kind of like trying to, it's all small business, man. Like we're all trying to get in this together and put out great content and have a good time.
I hope Shannon did the video sitting in his bathtub and he sat down. He's like, guys, I have to talk to you. You have to knock it off. And it was super serious. And it was like a 2-minute video. And then the title of the video is just like one word. It's like, let's talk, or sort of 2 words. Love. Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember SNL did a parody on that a couple weeks ago when David Dobrik released his apology video?
The YouTube apology thing. Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm a cool YouTuber. I have to apologize. And then it's just
who's the guy? There was a guy who
I'm sitting on the ground with my hands on my legs.
Yes.
Sad. It's so good. That is a really good skit, actually.
Oh, yeah.
We're sorry.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you know. Anyway, so the hockey guy, follow him on Twitter, obviously, and YouTube and that sort of thing. Although I imagine that most people on the show who watch the show are already watching him.
Right.
And if you're not, do it because he's great.
A wealth of knowledge.
Yes, totally. And I love the fact that he gets like what it's like not to do this, right? Like we we all work. We're very lucky, you know. We all worked broadcasting jobs, but we all worked jobs before this that really sucked. And except for Steve, the zoo was is definitely his second calling.
It sometimes sucked.
But I think you know, you can see that come out. Like there's and I feel it here too. It's like you're just grateful to be able to do this, and I think he of anybody I've seen exudes that the most. But I mean, that's how I feel. Like the fact that the studio's in my basement's pretty cool, right? Sometimes I just come downstairs and I look and I'm like, ooh, it's still here. You know, it's just fun.
Yeah, if you started out doing this at 18 and this is all you kind of ever knew as an adult job, you're not as grateful as you are as somebody like Shannon who did manual labor. Yeah.
Busted his ass for years. Yeah. So we have to talk about this. Canada, I'm sorry to all of our American listeners. Canada defeats the USA. Marie-Philippe Poulin. Come on, baby.
Well, and to all our American listeners, I don't feel bad. So there it is. What? Okay, they had such a run in the World Championship.
They sure did. Holy.
That is the, unless I'm missing one, which I might be missing more than one. That's MPP's third gold medal winning goal of her career. Well, 2 at the Olympics.
Yes.
The second one in OT.
Yes.
The second one in OT after erasing a multi-goal deficit.
Yep.
Like,
it's unbelievable.
and such a what a piss missile. Awesome.
Well, what
She
a
rules.
limp way to get your game-winning goal. You know, you celebrate, nobody else is celebrating because nobody realized it went in the net, and then what is it? Like 30 seconds later, they play the buzzer in the arena, and everybody goes off.
I've never seen the horn of doom for a gold medal winning goal. Like the it went off the hey you actually scored horn.
Yeah.
That's
I didn't know that's what it was called. I was a little confused.
I made that up.
The most I think of all, actually, it's a pretty good topic. Championships. You know, in Toronto we have very few of them, but one of the ones that's really well known is the '93 Jays when they hit the home run, right? But before that, the year before,
no. Do the call.
Where Joe Carter hit the home run back in 1993 to bring the World Series back to Toronto. And that's what I love about Joe Carter is he says both T's in Toronto. Love Joe. He's amazing. But, before that, it was still kind of exciting. There was like against Atlanta in 92, there was like that sort of a single that kind of dribbled and the relieving pitcher has to grab it. I think it was Dwayne Ward and had to like throw it, or is it Hankey? It doesn't matter. Throws it to first base and they get it and you see the first baseman jump up. Olerud's like in the air. Everybody's excited. But, when the Raptors won, it was like, well, is this a foul or not a foul? And it's 0.8 seconds left, and we're just kind of, okay, well, he's going to take his free throw. You remember that?
Yeah, cool. The last 10 seconds of the game took about like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because they kept after going back and forth.
I remember jumping off.
Danny.
I remember jumping off the couch. Everly had been born like 10 days before. Jumping off the couch, being super excited, and I'm like, they're not going to run out the clock? Why are they going to run out the clock? Just run it out.
There's a foul, and they had to shoot the free throws.
That was the one and only time Charlie ever bit me.
Oh, because you were that excited?
Because I ran at SL and she ran at me, and that day we learned who he likes more. He protected her and bit me. Like he drew blood, and I was like, Jesus!
All right, now say it.
Charlie bit me. And I said, oh, Charlie, that really hurt.
So, what a great goal. And the thing is, no one's going to remember the way that they figured out it was a goal. Everybody's going to remember the thing. And you know what? Marie-Philippe Poulin is one of those players that, and I don't know how this is possible sometimes, but there are certain players that are just gamers.
Oh.
And you have that gene or you don't. And I think that's human beings. Like some people do, fight or flight. And she is fight. And it was awesome. Like there was she had almost scored before that. And you got to think about, what's at stake here, right? You almost score a goal and it was like inches. And then you think, if I was in that position, I would have just been like, fuck this. They've already won 5 in a row. I have the 6th because I'm a Leaf fan, right?
Yes.
But she was like, no, I cheered for a team that won once in my lifetime. I'm pretty sure she's a Canadiens fan growing up. Like, she realizes that it's possible. She's done it before. And there was just this, it was like a missile. It was unbelievable.
Let me ask you something, guy. I want to poll everyone in the room. You ever snapped your ankle?
I've never snapped my ankle.
No,
No, never snapped my ankle.
you've never. No, you've never. That's so weird. Well, can you imagine it?
Ooh.
Yeah. How would you react? Bummed, right?
Terribly, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Blair Turnbull,
Yeah.
in the ensuing celebration, all the Team Canada's jumping on top of each other, snaps her friggin' ankle, comes back out on the stretcher with the widest smile I've ever seen ever, because winning cures all.
Yeah.
Absolutely all. I've always been like, it's gonna happen. Every time I
Yeah.
see people jumping on top of each other on ice, on skates, so much could go wrong.
How does
so
no one
fast.
get cut? Well, look at the Nylander Lundqvist after Sweden won the World Championship. That picture is infamous. Famous but infamous. And you think, like, he literally speared...
It could have ended his career.
He speared Henrik Lundqvist, who is an old man.
Alexander Radulov, when he was young and in Nashville, knocked Jason Arnott out. I'm pretty sure
he
during
was so excited?
a goal celebration. It was like
God.
Game 6 heading into Game 7 or something, and I'm pretty sure they didn't have Arnott for Game 7. I'd have to go back and look that up. And I'm always like, whenever I see the jumping celebrations, I wonder how it doesn't happen more. I don't mean to laugh. I'm only laughing because she seemed relatively okay with it because they had just won.
Mm-hmm.
But just, you talk about a moment you can ride for the rest of your life. I can't remember who it was who said, I need this on a t-shirt immediately. I need that on a t-shirt immediately.
I'm surprised they haven't done that.
I'm sure they have. I'm sure someone has.
I hope
and
so.
please point me in the direction because I need that immediately. That, or just Marie-Philippe Poulin, little Mona Lisa smile at the camera. I did it again. That's she just.
Okay,
doesn't.
I want to throw this out there. We knew her. She's got a resume, right? Your Team USA.
She wears it around her neck.
Yeah. Your Team USA, and I know they won 5 in a row. I get it. Okay, I totally get it. But that's the one if I'm Team USA and this title's even slightly, they might get this. It's gonna be Marie-Philippe Poulin. How was she in that position? And I know she's great, but I would have 2 people strapped to her. If I'm the other coach, like whenever she's on the ice, I don't care if somebody else is open. I'm covering her, like I'm double teaming her each time.
No, the ultimate weapon in the sport is not speed or skill or even the ability to shoot it the way she does. It's finding space. Mm-hmm. It's the same conversation we always have with Alex Ovechkin. How don't you know he's going to be there? They know, but he finds a way. In the same way, she finds a way. Every bloody time.
And it's not like the defenseman that had her, and forgive me, I forget the person's name, but
it was chaos.
But it wasn't like the gap was that far off. Like it wasn't like they were completely out of position. I mean, they were there, but why isn't there 2? Is my question.
To me, the most amazing part of that play is the States didn't score going the other way after Canada scored.
Oh yeah. Now imagine.
Well, they just stopped playing because they're like, we won. Maybe okay. I guess
That's
I'll go to the
point.
bench.
Well, and it took like 30
that's
seconds.
what I was waiting for, buddy.
Imagine the fallout from that if they had scored, and it was a more obvious goal.
There's just 50 pairs of gloves on the ice because everyone thinks they won. Everyone thinks they won, but Canada would win. I've seen
Sure.
that happen before.
Okay.
It was years ago. It was a Leafs-Penguins game. The Penguins scored. Nothing happened. Leafs go back the other way. They score. Leafs goal is taken back, and the Penguins get their goal that they should have had in the first place.
Oh.
So, and I'm also trying to think, would this be the second straight year that a team won the gold medal then lost? Because remember that also happened with Finland against the USA. Was that last year? I can't remember.
Oh, man.
But I was heartbroken for them.
Yeah, because they had won and celebrated, and then they took it back.
I think it was. I want to say it was goalie interference.
Yeah. And then the
still
USA
right.
went on to win.
Yes, they
Yeah,
did.
that was
because
heartbreaking,
as
yeah.
they have to by Murphy's Law or whatever. But MPP, we're gonna be. I don't know when it's gonna happen. I hope it's not anytime soon. But the fanfare that Christine Sinclair got this year, winning gold for Canada, even though it was in a smaller role than we're used to her playing. Like one day, I hope MPP gets the recognition she deserves. I
think
don't
she will.
know if you could. You know what I mean?
Well,
I don't know if
she'll
you can properly give her
I think
her
she'll
due.
be. I think she'll be more celebrated than people who deserved it in the past and didn't get it.
I understand what you're saying.
And
That's
I'm not saying it's proportional to what she's accomplished, because I don't know that you could either. I agree, but you look at some of you look at what Haley Wickenheiser and Cassie Campbell did. Those I grew up with a Wickenheiser and a Cassie Campbell stick in my garage. I had both of them, and Nancy Drouillette too. And there were so many of those players that had just started to be marketed when we were growing up, right? They showed up in a commercial.
Ooh. Yeah.
And it was only around the Olympics. The rest of the time, forget it. It's just women's hockey. But in the Olympics, we're gonna celebrate these people now. And you think about what they accomplished. And Cassie has been on TV longer than she was a hockey player, but she was an unbelievable hockey player. Haley Wickenheiser was unbelievable. They've been celebrated, but have they really been celebrated? Based on proportional to what they accomplished in their careers. I don't think so.
Not enough. And it's like I'm thinking back to the gold medal game in 2010 when MPP scored both goals in a 2-0 gold medal win. Right. And that was 11 years ago.
I know.
And she's still writing her story.
I don't want to throw it back to this, but I think those things, they're easier to celebrate if it happened within a league that would celebrate itself. Like, if Haley Wickenheiser did all of she did for women's hockey within a WNHL, then that league is an institution of itself that can celebrate their players. Yeah. And then we're reminded constantly of the great players of this women's league, and then we'd recognize her more in that way. So I think that's why it's so important.
What centralizes the recognition.
Exactly. It's so important for the future of the game just to have a centralized league to centralize the recognition.
I hope what they do when that league does form, because we know that at some point women's hockey will have one professional league. We know it'll happen. I don't know when, but we know it'll happen. It won't be the NWHL versus this versus that. It won't be the PWHPA doing what they're doing. The whole reason that the PWHPA is doing what they're doing is so they don't have to do what they're doing, right? Once that happens, my hope is in that inaugural season that they acknowledge the pillars that came before them that built this. And I feel like, and maybe this is too much for some people, but for me, I feel like you have to have, I don't say you retire numbers necessarily, but you retire names or you honor names in each arena. Because I know that, think about this 100 years from now.
Oh, we should be going to Marie-Philippe Poulin Elementary.
Yeah, for sure. But what I'm saying is there were players, spectacular players, that played before the NHL existed on club teams that are forgotten.
Right.
And my hope is that doesn't happen in the same way in 100 years. But we're hoping that with this league, that 100 years from now, it still exists like you would with the NHL. And I think when you're looking in that sort of recognition, the NHL when it formed was really just an FU league to the NHA. That's the history there. And it was actually the Toronto owner who was a pain in the ass, and all the owners said, "We're walking away from this."
What was the name of the Toronto team before? The
Toronto
Leafs and the
hold on.
one.
Was it the St. Pat's? The Aretinas?
No, because there's one before that. Is there not? Like the
Toronto,
the
I
five.
believe the Toronto Ontarios, believe it or not.
Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
You made that
yeah. Toronto Ontarios. And they were also they were first named the Tecumseh Hockey Club, renamed the Ontarios in 13, and renamed the Shamrocks in 15, and then ceased operations when they were called the Shamrocks. Toronto had a huge Irish population. That's why they named them that, because they wanted Irish people to come and buy tickets to the game, believe it or not. And that's how they thought in those. It's crazy. There's some crazy history about Toronto nobody knows.
Is that where St. Pat's came from?
Yeah. It was the same idea, right? It's a marketing ploy. That's all it was. And it was to honor, but it was and to tip their cap to the Irish population. But they were also like, yeah, if we do this, the Irish will come to the games.
We
can sell some tickets.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I love this little detour into Adam's history.
Well, I've been wanting to forever to do a Leafs history podcast. And I've sort of started putting it together with Mike Camito, but it's very, very basic right now. And it hasn't, we're not ready.
Girl?
Not even close. What's that? Well, it's something that I've always wanted to do, because I've always thought if you ran down, even if you did an episode a decade, and just introduce people to
That's
some of
not
the history.
often enough.
Yeah, probably not. No. Hey, I'm talking about something that has a limited run. I don't want to be doing that forever, but I think you look at all who was the star player on the Toronto Ontario's, right? And
they weren't very creative with the names back in 1952.
They were not. But the forerunners, of these leagues of the NHL are completely gone to history. No one cares. No one knows. And so I hope the same thing doesn't happen with, we'll call it the NWHL.
I think it was Alyssa Turner going, that meme, for $1, name an NWHL team. They just couldn't mention it on the broadcast.
Right.
For $1.
What would the NHL, WNHL is what I meant. When the WNHL exists.
Or whatever
they call it. I hope that there is an acknowledgement of these players. And I'm not just talking about Canada, obviously.
I am.
You can't do that without Cammy Granato. You can't do that without, the list goes on and on and on and on. So I'm hoping that happens, and I hope they get this league sorted out soon, because as Jesse said, if a league celebrates itself and its own players, the league has to exist first, but it makes it easier to celebrate it, right?
So the mantle is with us, right? Right now.
With the people that live today? Not like the three of us.
Yes.
No, that's a lot of pressure, man. We can't do that.
Yes, we can. No, just with fans. I mean,
right.
We have to make sure our kids, learn about, like, Haley Wickenheiser, can't just be someone who works for the Leafs. You got to remind them, no.
Yeah.
There's all this here's a quarter century of her playing.
And in Europe with men, and that was crazy too.
And same thing with MPP.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the more recent it is, the easier it is to do just all the footage, and exposure has gotten better. There's still work to be done, but I mean, how do you ignore MPP?
Well,
you can't.
I don't think you can, and that's what's going to be so exciting. And I actually, I didn't even know this. But Laura Fortino, by the way, who we played road hockey with when Sasky had us all out for the CWHL road hockey game.
You know what Fortino means in Italian?
What does it mean?
Sick player.
Oh. No, yeah, that's what you said at the time.
You said that like
that's also
800 times.
A big grocery chain here.
Still funny.
Here in Ontario. So Laura is working for the Hamilton Bulldogs now. As a coach in development, I guess in the development department, which is pretty cool too.
I thought that team didn't exist anymore. So
they're OHL now.
Some West Ender you are.
They moved leagues, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Pro to junior.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you guys have probably heard the rumors about Tim Hortons Field and the fact that the Toronto Maple Leafs and Buffalo Sabres may play an outdoor game on March the 13th, and they're going to call it the Heritage Classic. This is according to Mike Harrington from the Buffalo News. Now, first off, I saw this rumor and I thought, yeah, that makes sense. Number two, that's a definite loss for the Toronto Maple Leafs, right?
Oh,
They lose big games like that, right?
My thought was that's the day after my birthday, and I sure would like that as a gift from someone.
Well,
but also, yeah.
The Leafs are going to lose that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
I don't care who starts.
What's their record in outdoor games? It's pretty good. I think it's
1-1.
500.
They lost one to Detroit at Michigan Stadium.
They won that one. They lost to Washington.
And then they have the BMO one here.
They won the BMO one here. But what about the one where they were in the sailor suits?
They got killed.
Yeah.
So I think they're 2-1.
Oh. No, they're 2-2. They lost twice. They had to have. Sailor suits, and I know they lost in Detroit. Did they not lose at the Big House?
No, they won the Big House in the shootout. They won the Centennial Classic also against Detroit in Toronto in overtime. And Washington, I want to say, I don't know if it was a podcast event or a Puck Talks, but we had like a get-together at Rec Room. And we were all excited, like, oh, here we go.
That was a Puck Talks.
Killed.
Puck Talks, for sure.
They got absolutely demolished. And I can't think of if they've played another one.
2-1, you guys. Stop getting so down on the Leafs.
Well,
yeah.
3-1 very soon.
Yeah, you don't remember that heroic overtime win after choking on a 4-1 lead? You don't remember that?
That was at BMO, right? Matthew scored the winner.
I was there, and when I left my seat, it was 4-1. Oh, because I had to do media after that. By the time I got around the arena, a security guard told me, "Fuck you."
What?
Working.
Why?
I've never heard this story.
Sorry?
I forgot. Because it burst out of her because she didn't.
What is happening?
Because she didn't want to work overtime. She wanted the game to end, and it was 4-3. And she's like, "Oh my God, they're about to choke or whatever." And I'm wearing my press pass or whatever. I go, "Don't worry, they're not going to choke." Detroit scores with 1 second left, and she just goes, "Fuck you." And I don't know if she meant to make deep eye contact.
I don't think you've ever told that story.
She definitely, like, she said that and then kind of went, rein it in. Like realized, like, okay,
It was cold, wasn't it?
Oh, it was freezing. It was freezing.
January
and I was
1st.
cold and she was cold.
I remember I had an offer to go to the game, but I'd already booked a flight to Florida. I was on the plane to Florida.
Oh,
And I was
wow.
like, suckers. And then I was like, I missed one of the greatest overtime wins of all time.
I was at the alumni game beforehand.
Oh, where
and
Roberts and Draper got into a fight?
Yeah, it was awesome. But we were sitting in the upper deck at BMO, and the lake cold front in January was not fun. I couldn't feel my fingers. It was terrible, but it was a great game.
There was a dude, I don't remember if it was at the actual game or the alumni game. That game had a shorts guy.
What's? Oh, no.
You know how every campus has shorts guy?
Yeah.
There was
No way.
shorts guy at the Centennial Classic. I couldn't believe it. I think I interviewed him for Sportsnet. I was like, you have to be in this video because you're shorts guy.
I like when you interview random people. So Sportsnet sends you out to events, like when you did the Raptors parade.
Yeah.
Like, why were you the guy to interview people at the Raptors parade?
It was great. I climbed a bus. It was.
But why did Sportsnet make the decision that, hey, we're going to send the Leafs YouTuber out to interview people?
They sent everybody. Hey, I wore a Raptors jersey. It was fine. It was fine.
Send the guy that does the internet thing. My daughter watches him. The internet guy.
Hey.
Yeah, he's weird. Yeah. That's what happens. That's what happens.
TBF, to be fair, they sent to everyone,
Yeah.
including me for some reason.
They sent you because you connect to a digital audience that not everybody can.
They didn't send enough. Elliot Friedman should have been standing next to Kyle Lowry on the bus.
Breaking trades.
Yeah, that was great. There were so many. It was just such a fun moment. It was great to watch all these Toronto reporters cover a win. Mm-hmm. Like Greg Ross. What did he do? He was the one who threw his mic up to Drake.
Oh,
You remember that? Yeah, I worked with him at CBC, and he was just like, "All right," and like, what are you gonna do if Drake steals your mic? That's the story.
I'm gonna ruin this.
Oh no.
I had a terrible time that day because I was directly behind the shooting that happened.
Oh well, thanks for that, Jesse. Yeah.
And I came on this podcast and talked about it. It was very traumatizing. Did not go well.
All right.
I don't have fond memories of that day at all.
Cool. All right.
TJ still does not like to be in big crowds.
Yeah, and I get it.
Yeah.
That take has grown on people.
Yeah. More so than we thought it would. I think
You might say it's spread.
I think if there was, and I say this with, and you know what I mean when I say this, if there was something good to be gleaned from that, it was they really were not ready for the amount of people that were going to be at that parade. And if the Leafs ever did win, or if the Raptors win again, because those are the two teams, Jays, the Jays core, maybe they're not going to make the playoffs this year. Maybe they will. But one day that Jays core is going to finally have some pitching augmenting it, and they're going to be older and kicking ass. They could win a championship, no question. And if they do, I think the whole city will be way better prepared for that. I don't think we knew. 2 million people showing up downtown. Like, I don't think... I think if you told people that, they'd have been like, it seems like they rounded up on that number. Maybe 1 million, maybe 1.5. Not 2 million. 2 million
The Jays
people.
parade, because like you said, that's a perfect way to put it. It's going to happen. It's going to be bigger. And
It is gonna be bigger.
something as simple as like the barriers. The reports, they didn't have enough barriers to fence off a parade route. They just didn't prepare to create something long enough and have enough metal pieces to make it.
I would think
all
that
stuff's going to be solved.
I would think MLSE just goes, we'll buy it. Yeah. Or Rogers goes, we'll buy it.
Yeah.
Like, because you don't want anything bad associated with your brand. If I own those teams, I'd be like, what do I need to do to prepare for this? I don't care if we never use it, but if we have it, I don't want anything looking bad on my team.
What a time capsule. You just reminded me of, remember Drake was big with the chips with the dip thing?
Yeah.
There was a dude walking around with a backpack full of chips with a giant bowl of dip, and just Toronto was eating out of it. Everyone was just grabbing
That's
chips
awesome.
and
Do you remember Kawhi Plant guy?
Yeah. I remember that. I also remember, so we're standing sort of university in front. Packed. And I'll never forget this lady barging through the crowd, complaining, I have to get to my train. And again, Toronto laughing at her. Everyone in the crowd was like, what, did you not know? I interviewed a lady in her
you're
car.
the one.
I interviewed a lady in her car. She got stuck.
Driving?
No.
She had arriving, Jesse. So I was there early. I was like, how long have you been here? She's like, 3 hours. She just messed up. She was driving along.
No.
I don't remember what street, like King or something. And she just put her car in park. And that
Just
was
sit on the roof and enjoy it, man.
That was the rest of her day.
Yep.
Everyone was just walking around her car.
So let me.
The part of the parade.
She must have been there. I'm not kidding. 12 hours. She just messed up.
Okay.
She just messed up.
2 cities that never happens in, guarantee it: New York and Boston.
Because they win.
They've won enough championships. They know.
We didn't know.
New York does the Times Square thing. Boston wins every year in some sport.
yeah.
Maybe Tampa's got it down now. They do it all in the water, which is smart.
Yeah.
They don't need any barricades for that. I honestly think that happened in Toronto because we hadn't won anything. It's like, well, the Argos and TFC won, and I loved watching the TFC win. I loved it. But it's not on the same level.
No.
Not even close.
So LA, I wonder about that because California itself is so spread out, and same with LA. Just everything is everywhere, just miles and miles apart.
Nobody built a third story in California until recently. I don't know
Right.
what it is about California. No, I don't want to live in a condo. We're all going to live in houses side by side. It's going to be 2-lane highways forever and ever. It's 3 hours to get to work.
It's going to be 3 hours to your neighbor at all
Anaheim
times.
to LA.
Oh!
I couldn't.
Sorry.
So like the Angels, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, who play in
Which
California,
is a truly hilarious name.
Who play in Oakland. Yeah, no.
so they play in like Anaheim. Do they have a parade in downtown LA? And is anybody in LA going to that?
And would anyone notice?
Right.
It'd just be regular traffic. When I was there, I saw people get out of their car.
If the Sharks win the Cup, is the parade in San Jose or San Francisco?
It's in the parking lot. No, I'm joking.
It's at
I'm
the
just
SAP
being mean.
Center.
Like, I know it could be in San Jose, but if you're trying to draw people to the parade, you're probably doing San Fran, aren't you? Because San Jose is a suburb, is it not?
I haven't
don't
been.
know.
So I don't have any ideas.
I look at California as
I've been to
one
San Fran, but
long city from top to bottom, and then like a mountain range and some desert.
it's super not. No, because some places you get sourdough bread for free before dinner, but the further south you go, you start to get nachos, and then you go far south enough, it's just nachos.
Right.
It's a very important distinction. How dare you?
That's very important.
It is. That's how it goes.
I do want to talk to. We've got to get some hockey out here. We finally know who the Islanders signed.
Frege called this months ago. Why is Lou like this?
I actually think this is Lou going, I'm going to see if there's any leaks in the ship before the season starts.
See?
And then I'm going to find.
See?
Just going to see.
You think that's how Lou Lamoriello thought?
Yeah. I'm just going to see if there is.
I don't
just
think
in case.
he asked that question. I think he asked who wants to die. And he found out the answer was still no one.
Still nobody wants to die. It's crazy.
Still no one. Like, okay.
Can I just announce the signings before you get into
Yes.
it?
We haven't done that
Yes.
yet.
Sorry.
Ilya Sorokin, 3-year, $12 million deal.
Good.
Palmieri, 4-year, $20 million.
It's not bad.
No, not bad at all. I think that's it, right?
No, Cizikas, 6 years, 2.5.
Oh, that broke a couple days ago, the Cizikas, didn't it? 6 year?
There was a rumor. I'm sure someone's dead.
Yeah.
And then
I think Martin re-up?
Beauvillier.
Beauvillier, yes. Okay.
Beauvillier.
So
What a great way to do business.
Oh yeah.
You just have them. You have them under wraps. Then it looks like you have all of this cap space. You can go into every single negotiation. You can get everything you can get done during free agency and trades and all that stuff. And then your guys are just there, and you have them in your back pocket. And then when you feel like announcing it and your actual salary cap, you go ahead and do that.
Yep. You just do it.
It's perfect.
You just do it. I don't think most people fully understand Lou Lamoriello and his impact on an organization. Does he always make the right decisions as a general manager?
Nobody does.
Hard no. Nobody does. Is he even an above average GM in terms of like trades, for example?
Debatable.
Debatable even. I think he's great at improving what he already has. Lou Lamoriello, with your roster, will win more games. You drop Lou Lamoriello onto, pick a team, Ottawa, they're going to win more games.
And Brady Tkachuk's going to sign for 3 years at $4 million apiece.
Or else. And like you drop him onto any team in the National Hockey League, Anaheim Ducks, Minnesota Wild, you drop them onto any team, they will do better. We can talk about how absurd it is you have to wear suits on every trip. We can talk about how absurd it is you have to stay clean shaven every day, not even stubble. We can talk about how absurd it is X, how absurd it is Y, how absurd it is Z. It seems pretty obvious that Lou Lamoriello gets more out of his teams than other GMs because of the culture that he brings with him. And it's the most overused word in the sport and every sport. Mm-hmm. How can you deny its truth? It's 100% true.
It is.
The fact he can do that, sign 4 guys, one of them leaks, and no one even believes it because it's an Islanders league.
You can't take it for serious, right?
You can't.
Okay.
Because no one gets Islanders stuff, so how could this possibly be true?
On that note, I have secondhand knowledge of a story of a conversation that took place between Lou Lamoriello and an executive.
Okay.
And the executive worked for the team, but obviously was not in the hockey ops department, okay? So
are you allowed to be telling
I am allowed
this
to tell
story?
this story. I'm allowed to tell this
Is
story.
Lou going to murder Adam?
Well, if I'm not here next episode, you'll find me next September.
Start looking up hosts. We'll be fine. We're fine.
Tim McCallum.
So the story goes that, you know, because it was an interesting thing in Toronto, especially when Luke came, because all this, there went from like no rules, people showing up late for practice, people not showing up at all, to everybody better get in line or you're in trouble. And I hope one day all the Lou stories come out about what he did here, because I think there would be a lot of people who would really love Lou Lamoriello if you found out what really happened here.
Yeah.
Now, and I've seen
turning careers around.
Yes. And I've seen a lot of people online say, listen, the face shaving and the muzzling of a player's ability to
no rookie interviews,
and the muzzling of your first off, you can't like a lot of the muzzling of expression, right, is problematic, and I can understand that point of view, right? I get it, especially now where we're not as tight as we used to be.
Yep.
Lou was asked by this person, why the shaving thing? Like, does it affect, what is it? Because, and it wasn't like a condescending question. It was more like I'm curious. Like, this is a really interesting, that's my hill. If I said to you guys, we can't do the show without everybody being cleanly shaven, you guys would be like, fuck off. And
especially me.
Well, and then imagine saying it to pro athletes who actually have fuck you money. And what Lou's response was so simple but very interesting. And he said, listen, I asked them to do it because I want them to do something when they wake up that's sort of annoying and hard. And what he meant by that is when you have to wake up, like I watched my dad wake up and shave every morning because at the time in the 90s, he was a sales rep. You weren't allowed to have a beard because it was considered you were untrustworthy or something. They actually told me that in radio school. If you have a beard, people think that you're untrustworthy, which is completely changed now. But I was in radio school in like 2007, right? But that's old school thinking. I get it. I know. Isn't that wild? It's the wildest thing. So, and I mean, really, Jesse doesn't say much. How do we trust him?
Right?
I don't know.
But
now that you mention it.
There's a lot of hipsters in Toronto you can't trust.
Right. Fair.
I always say.
But the point was not the shaving. The shaving itself was not really it. It was, I want these people to wake up in the morning and think about something beyond themselves. The idea is everybody on that team is going to be shaved. And if I walk in there and I'm not contributing in the same way. And there's that little bit of, and I know there'll be people that call this into issue, and fair enough. But I thought that was interesting because he wanted to make sure that these kids who were handed $1 million checks woke up and went, this is a fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Because probably nothing else in their life is, right? Relative to a normal human being. Like, even if you make $925,000 at 18 years old, I know that's small in NHL terms. Even if you hit 0 of your rookie bonuses, you've already made probably 20 times what the average person makes in a year, right?
Oh, I was about to say, I wonder what percentage of people listening to the show right now have not made that ever.
Like in total. From the first day you started working to right now. And so I think the whole point of it was like a humbling thing. It was like what Shannon said on the podcast earlier. I worked manual labor jobs for 20 years. So it's perspective. And I think that's what he was going for. Now, is that the right way to go about perspective? Maybe not. But Lou seems to be able to get people to perform beyond their abilities and to fall in line.
And it's a nauseating topic, and I'm sure there's a lot of people rolling their eyes right now. Mm-hmm. And you do whatever you need to do to accept it. This isn't up for debate. You want to talk about an undeniable resume.
No.
Yeah.
Lou Lamoriello makes the teams that he is part of better.
Yeah.
Even if he makes a trade that makes them worse. That's how good he is.
Or that's how his system works.
That's how it works.
I love that story because it reminds me of at baseball practice. When you get to practice, you got to run 2 laps. You got to do a lap from home plate around the outfield, and you got to do it twice. You got to come back around. And it wasn't that the laps were important for like cardio or being better at baseball. It was because our coach was there. I think it was Coach Thompson. He was there, and just every time you get to practice, you got to run 2 laps. And it's a little annoying thing to just get you right as a 14-year-old. You're going to get here and you're going to do this. You know, we're going to get you into this game. You're going to pay attention after these 2 laps, and then we're going to start practice.
Right.
You know, and Lou, the genius of Lou is he's doing this with $1 million athletes.
Yes.
You know, he gets them to do the shaving thing because it's just annoying. It's going to get your head in the game.
And maybe the shaving thing seems out of date, but it seems to work with $1 million athletes.
Right?
So why wouldn't you go for it, right?
Your first thought every morning is Lou Lamoriello.
Yes.
That's respect.
Yes.
That's respect.
Now, and I'm sure if there was a religious reason why you couldn't shave, and I think it's important that we mention that Lou's not going to be like, no, you have to shave.
Right.
I think that is also important, too, because I think a lot of people have extrapolated that it doesn't matter what your race or religion is, Lou would make you shave. I don't believe that that's the case at all.
I don't know.
I can almost guarantee that it's not.
Sure.
It's one of those, so, you know, as much as I was a critic of some of the moves Lou made while he was here, and I was a huge critic, especially that Zaitsev deal, there were a lot of moves that he made that were pretty damn good.
How much is Matt Martin making right now? You know?
2.5.
Still making 2.5.
It's a little much.
It's a little much.
Second round or fourth?
Third round.
Third round again.
Little much.
I said every round, but
they did. What did they do? Second round the first year, and then the last 2 has been third round.
I think so. Yeah. Game 7, 1-goal loss to friggin' Tampa. And Tampa got worse. Islanders didn't really. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh man, they're so close. Okay, quickly. Colton Parayko signs an 8-year contract worth $52 million. A lot of people are taking this, and they are in Toronto, at least. Excuse me, St. Louis. In Toronto, they're saying, well, Morgan Riley's getting it north of that. That's the
I don't
benchmark.
think so.
I'm not convinced either, and it's not a hit against Morgan Riley, but I feel like Parayko may be a more complete player.
They're 2 different versions of the same guy, kinda. Parayko is the far more defensive, not as capable offensively guy. Mm-hmm. Riley is the inverse of that. Mm-hmm. I thought he was good against Montreal on both ends, but went up. And I also think Parayko, even though he's a righty, is probably a better comparable for Riley because what were the big numbers that were handed out?
Well, Dougie Hamilton was at 9.
Dougie Hamilton was at 9, but I don't hear many people talk about Morgan Riley in the same conversation as Dougie Hamilton. No. As much as I love Morgan Riley. Seth Jones is a little older or more established in his career, But I don't hear people talking about Morgan Rielly, or traditional hockey men anyway, talking about Morgan Rielly in the same breath as Seth Jones, as like a true 30-minute stud.
Right.
Cale Makar, it's not even a comparable. He's 20? Mm-hmm. It's not a comparable. Darnell Nurse, he's still talked about like a real young guy, and he's got more to give, and he's going to get better.
Neil Pionk signed with the Jets, 23.5. His cap hit is 5.875.
Is this just now? Or today?
No, these are that was signed August 12th, I think. Neil Pionk.
Well, and he's coming off like a ridiculous 2-year heater after not being very good.
No, that was signed. Yeah, August 11th he was signed.
Oh, okay. So Parayko, at where he's at in his career.
Hold on, Pelich with the Islanders, another guy that they actually did announce, 5.75.
That deal's really, really good.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to give you some comparables here.
Yeah, really, really good. So that week where everyone signed for 9, I don't know what it was about, to be totally honest. Rielly might get north of Parayko. I don't know if the Leafs are willing to give him 8, that's how you get Parayko down to 6.5. But Rielly, I think, is closer to that than 9. I don't get that number.
Well, okay, let's look at this one. Alec Martinez, who's 33. Older than Rielly. Rielly's what, 29, 30? Somewhere in there?
He was drafted 2012, which means nothing. So he's late 20s.
Yeah. So when he signs this deal, he'll be that much closer to 30. Martinez, 3-year deal, $5.25 million per.
These $9 million deals were the norm for a week, and now I don't know. Parayko seems like the adjustment. The forget the cap hit number. Mm-hmm. The trend this year is long deals, 7 and 8 year deals.
It's to bring that cap hit down, right?
Yeah, I'm not really sure where that came from. And I also, with a guy with Rielly's injury history, I don't know if that's the move.
What's the number? If you want Morgan Rielly back on the Leafs, what's the number?
I wonder if that number for him is different for the Leafs than it is for, say, everybody says the Canucks. But if you're are we talking about re-signing Morgan Rielly or signing Morgan Rielly on the open market? Because I feel like there are two different numbers, right?
What's the number let's do them both. What's the number for him coming back, and what's the number for another team? Because the other team is obviously going to overpay because that's how free agency works.
And the Leafs can do the 8th year, which other teams cannot unless they trade him there. I would say I wouldn't go over 6.5 if it's 8. If it's 4, something like that, you're going to have a hard time keeping him to 6.5. Now you're looking at closer to 7.58, maybe 8.
And are we comfy with that in terms of like the rest of the cap situation? At that point, do you just let Morgan Rielly, or do you trade him if you want assets like Adam does?
To me, weirdly, the Leafs defense is the most stable thing about this team.
It is.
And I don't know when that friggin'
The best
happened.
part of their entire team is the defense.
Yeah, and it's not even that it's the best in the league. It's the best it's been in a long time, and also the only turnover from this season to last is Bogosian leaving. That's it. Mm-hmm. So you want to keep the band together. Do the Leafs have the means to replace him?
No. Unless you're banking on Rasmus Sandin all of a sudden being a 3rd or 4th year Morgan Rielly next year.
Oh, man.
That's too much.
Offensively, I think he's closer to Rielly than you think.
I would listen to the argument that he should be running PP1.
Yep. But the idea that, just because Rielly's analytics are bad in his own end means you can just throw Sandin to the Wolves, it doesn't make sense. I'd look at an 8-year deal for him, but he has to take a discount.
Yeah. Thomas Hertl, his name is out there. Now, the Sharks, basically, they got him one more year, and then he's up. And the thing with the Sharks, and we said this was going to happen 2-3 years ago, and of course it has, and I think Doug Wilson knew this was going to happen, is that we're like at that point now where the chickens come home to roost, if that makes any sense. It's a mess.
Oh, we talk about this every few months because we forget how bad their situation is. Remember.
Not that Hertl's a bad player. He's spectacular, but he's the good player and a centerman on a bad team.
Horrible team.
Terribly constructed, terrible salary structure. Like, not enough is made of how bad the San Jose Shark contracts are. Everybody talks about, Marner and Matthews, what a joke. That's way too much money. Those guys combined.
At least they're good.
They combined for like 75 goals and 200 points over the course of an 82-game season. That's good value. That's good value for like that many points. $20 million that's amazing. You've got, just alone on defense, a 31-year-old busted Erik Karlsson at 11.5. You got Brent Burns, who's still pretty good, but 36 years old, he's making 8. And Mark-Edward Vlasic, who is 34, he's making 7. And by the way, Vlasic's deal doesn't run out for 5 more years.
Oh!
Burns for 4 more years. Karlsson doesn't. When does his deal expire? At the end of 26-27.
What? Oh my! I wonder what they can do with a little bit of goaltending, but holy,
it's
for
rough.
the love of God! And like Kane was their best player, no one wants him back. Boy, do those reasons keep piling up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sad. I mean, like, we talked about it when it was just the gambling accusation. I said, you got to treat this like an addiction. But if all the other stuff's true too, I mean, what do you say?
I don't know what you do there, other than keep him away from the damn team.
Yeah.
And just pay him to stay away.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe you can make him an argument for LTIR and go sort out your legal issues, and you can't be on this team.
Yeah, you can't.
I feel like that's a good resolution for now, the LTIR.
Mm-hmm. Well, because, I mean, really, ultimately, if you're $20 million in debt, your goal has got to be to pay that off or declare bankruptcy. And either way, you're going to want to get paid. So if they say, you're never playing for us again, but we'll pay you.
How many pending cases is enough?
Right.
To be like,
because he's going to, not only does he have that $20 million debt that accrues interest, it's not with a bank, it's with a casino. So that's accruing interest. And casino interest is a lot more like your home equity, or not even home equity line of credit interest. We're talking like aggressive interest payments, right? Credit card level, maybe more. And then, unless the California law is different, and then and casinos can't charge interest on that. But from what I know, I think they can. It's ugly. So yeah, maybe you just make the argument to you. Listen, you go sort your shit out. You're not coming to camp. You're not playing here ever again. And we're probably not going to be able to trade you. So there you go.
Right. And how does Kane even want to show up? How do you focus on? I got to get my.
I don't think he
slap
minds.
Shot.
I don't think he minds.
No?
Not from what I've read. I mean, you read the Athletic articles on it, and I read one over my vacation. I was like, oh my God, it doesn't seem like he's aware, or it doesn't seem like he cares. One of the two.
You got to keep him away.
Yeah, I mean, if the best players are saying he can't play here, then I think you gotta make that, and he is the best player on the team. Lastly, before we get to the press conference, a real quick one: Jack Johnson signs a PTO with the Avs. I don't know how he does it, but he keeps sticking around.
Man.
And listen.
And it's the Avs.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I know.
It's a legit team.
And they're like, you know what? We can find a spot for you. Now, I feel like the Avs, you could put me in that 6th spot on the defense, and they still finish first in the division. That's a good team. But I'm just trying to look at their depth here. We've got Makar, Erik Johnson, Sam Girard, Devin Tays. It's pretty good. Then Bowen Byram. You do have Curtis McDermott of Seattle fame. And, of course, you then have Jack Johnson if he plays. Ryan Murray is also there as well. But a McDermott-Johnson third pair.
Nah, I think I don't think he's an everyday player.
Okay.
How many PTO guys end up being everyday players?
Only Travis Hamonic, and only because it was the only reason that Travis Hamonic happened like that is because of COVID.
Yeah.
That never would have happened.
Get your yucks in and your knee slappers. Jack Johnson, there's no way he's an everyday player for the Avalanche unless there are at least one
devastating injuries.
Yeah, I can't imagine him being in their top 6. That doesn't make any sense.
I want you to isolate this clip. And when Jack Johnson plays 82 games this year.
Look into the camera.
When Jack Johnson plays no, what are you going to say? You look into your camera. You're looking at your camera, Steve's camera.
Okay.
And what are you going to say about Jack Johnson? Repeat, please.
There's no way Jack Johnson will be an everyday player on the Colorado Avalanche.
Someone has got to tag Old Takes Exposed for that, just to make sure. And
I'm on like speed dial with them. Jeez. I'm on speed dial with them just for my Avalanche takes. But I think I look at that as Bowen Byram insurance.
okay.
He's going to be great. He's still a kid.
Yeah. And you know what? If he needs a game off, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. As, disciplinary or, you just need an eye in the sky game. There's nothing wrong with it.
All right. Let's do the press conference.
The Presser. SDP. The
Before
Steve
we-
Dangle Press Conference.
Before we get too far into this, Jesse, there are some polls on our Discord that are available right now.
Oh yeah, you want to bring up the polls?
Yeah, can we bring
Oh
up
my
some
God.
polls here?
Okay,
I
okay.
love this.
Thank
I
you,
love this.
everyone.
Yeah, let's do a thank you to everybody who joined the Discord because it's been wild. We're nearing 2,500 users on our Discord.
Wow.
And it's currently at like 500 active online at all moments. And Robert Malloy, one of our mods, sent me this. Since 7 a.m. The day after we launched, so it would have been 7 a.m. Wednesday, we haven't gone more than 4 minutes without a message on the Discord. So without a conversation happening.
So I was on in the first. I was member 204, and the first 200 were the beta members. And I did get the invite from Robert. I saw in our DMs, but I missed it. So I'm a little upset that I didn't get into the top 200. So I too cannot be a beta cuck. But it's been interesting because you see all the. I got to see it before everybody jumped on it. And I got to see the boards on every team go from no messages at all to all of them lit up. Every hockey team, including the Kraken, there are fans in there that are listeners of this show that are talking all the time.
Just chatting.
Whatever
away.
you want,
Chatting
They're talking
about the
like,
Kraken.
their favorite movies. They're talking about their favorite players. It's like I got to watch them all sort of light up too as it happened. It was very cool. Like one of those. Like, I don't know why, but I got goosebumps watching it because you're like,
Watching Discord.
No, I understand that because it's our fans connecting.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable because it's a hive of people and you're watching it in real time unfold. It's amazing.
and to our mods, and Robert and his team, Tic Tac, Tomar, and Yami, and Lucy, all of you, you've been spectacular. Thank you for all your hard work.
Yes.
I think we have to say that. And the community is great because what these guys are doing when we can't be there, first off, they understand Discord on a level that I don't know that I ever will. But they also are keeping it to a community that's so much about what this show is about.
Yes.
It's not the nasty, awful stuff you hear on the internet sometimes. This is a community that really is going to take care of you. We can have disagreements, but there's no personal attacks. And I really love that. You watch the conversation, and it's fun, and it's exciting, and it's so much better than a normal comment section. It's awesome.
Yeah, we can't thank the mods enough for cultivating that group of people.
And they're just doing it because they want to.
Right.
It's amazing. That's the other part that I'm like, I don't even know how we got so lucky.
See you on the Red Dead forum.
Yeah.
There's one if you want to talk about it. Hop in.
And there's a history corner one.
Adam,
too.
you need to get in there more often
I
because
do.
there's so many messages for you for History Corner.
Oh man, I've got a. I did have a few. Yeah, a few. I responded to a few people, so I'm gonna have to. There's a lot of messages.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead, Jesse.
Okay, so yeah, we want to bring up some of the polls. Using this is from Tic Tac Tomar posted this in the poll section. Using number and team emojis, what team will Morgan Rielly sign his next deal with, and for how many years? The leading team is the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Okay.
Before I believe
With how many?
52 votes. I believe before we had the team emojis, in first place it would have been the Kraken at 50. That's
Wow.
it. That's crazy.
Wow.
Do you think that's going to happen? Riley the Kraken?
No.
I mean, I think it's an obvious one because they have $30 million to spend.
And he's a BC guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Oh, man. The bubbling under the surface of that Colton Parayko Morgan Rielly comparable is I really do have to shoehorn a situation where it makes sense for him to be a Leaf.
Morgan Rielly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, no question. We don't know how this is gonna. How does that work?
But you have to try to contend, for God's sake, with this roster. You have to. And you're not better trading Morgan Rielly.
No.
So what do? Boy,
Trade
it's
for
tough.
someone who can manage minutes and maybe a future, and then go with what you got. You made your commitment to the forwards. You made your commitment. You cannot let him walk for nothing. And listen, if they win the cup and he walks the next day, I'll be fine to be wrong.
In the words of Apu from The Simpsons, and what would I pay them with? Banana bread? You got no picks? You got no cap space? What do you? How?
Yeah.
How are you going to do that?
Yep.
Do you want to do the poll under that one, Adam?
Oh,
can you see it?
Hang on. I got it. You pull it up.
Omar also posted, is the exposed brick in the new SDPN studio real? Thumbs up for yes, thumbs down for no.
I say we don't answer that.
I think we leave it a secret.
I think you get to know.
Yes.
Yes, we keep it a secret, or yes, it is real.
No, is it real or is it fake? Yes.
Okay.
All right, and then I'll head over to the press conference questions thread. This one was upvoted with a Steve emoji. Ooh. Upvoted is not the right word because that's a Reddit term, but it was responded to with a Steve head emoji. This is from Red Shark Pack. Will Dangets and Hat Picks be in studio for the 21-22 season?
The answer is I don't know. We have already talked about it. To start the season, I don't think so.
Situation's pretty sketch here. You just don't know. And like the thing is, like, and Americans have a tougher time understanding this. We have a public health system, right? It's not for profit, so we have so many ICU beds, and if we have a big outbreak, and a major corporation's like, hey, we invited everybody back. It can be a tough look. So I understand why Bell's doing the same thing on our end, and I say our, it's no longer Jesse, but on my end, Bell is doing the same thing Rogers is, which is only people who need to be there.
Yeah. Which is part of the reason we had to abandon ship with that studio on account of, I work for the competition.
Remember the first time Steve walked into that Bell studio? He was like, what if they know? I'm like, nobody knows, man.
Cares.
Or cares.
Yeah. That's the thing, because there's no hockey people there. The TSN studios are at in Agent Court.
Also, what are you gonna do? It's like steal their secrets?
I'm gonna steal your 18-year-old microphones,
guys.
I'm plugging them all.
I have to admit, I stole a pen.
Oh no!
Was it a Virgin Radio pen?
Yes.
It's okay. We give those away at events, or we used to.
Final question?
Well, you couldn't give away as many. We're hoping to at some point this season, but probably not right away.
This is from Crazy Cool. Best and worst active NHL jerseys. Adam and Steve.
Ooh.
Who's the best? Who's the worst? What you got?
So, do reverse retros count? I don't think those are active.
Yeah, okay, let's do... You can't do the alt ones. You got to do the main home and aways. Because if you do like the alt ones, then we just throw in, hey, Dallas, like you take the cake on either side for your neon jerseys. So we're doing regular home and away, best jersey, worst jersey. Who you got?
I'm not saying this is my answer, but Montreal's doesn't get enough credit as just being timeless.
Classic.
It's like a Yankees jersey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They never change it. It's just, there you go. Thank you, Jesse, for having that pulled up. It's timeless. It's always there. Same kind of with the Bruins. Same kind of with the Red Wings.
Only the Leafs fucked it up. Honestly.
Their regular jersey?
No, well, like they for 40 years they left the original crest because Harold Ballard was like, no, me, and then they went back recently to what it used to kind of be, and I think they nailed it. And I think Pete Blackburn tweeted a couple years ago. He's like, wow, I forgot how recently ugly the Leafs jersey was. There was like a picture of David Clarkson in it, and he's like, that was a bad jersey. I don't think any of us knew at the time.
That was like, what, 4 years ago?
Yeah, it wasn't that long, but pre-2017.
Okay, I think being bad also helps your jersey look bad. Because I could see a world where the Buffalo Sabres Navy jersey is cool. It sucks.
Yeah.
Because they suck.
Even the one that has the black strip underneath with the two swords. You know that one that's the white one?
Well, and they're one of the only teams, I think they're the only team that has the jersey number on the chest. And they don't have anybody worth putting their number on their chest. So,
Don't you mean?
Boo. No, boo. Like, they would agree. Boo. That sucks. Coyotes jersey.
Okay, you can't go through all of them.
Yeah,
Pick
we're
one.
not doing a review.
Yeah,
of all
like
the
I get to pick one too. You know.
Okay, fine. The Sabres, because nothing they do matters.
Okay. Except for trading Jack Eichel right now.
Yeah.
Why are you demolishing?
And beating the Leafs at Tim Hortons Field on March the 13th after Steve's
Oh,
birthday.
they will beat the Leafs.
You know what? We'll all go because it's your birthday, so we'll go celebrate your birthday.
Watch them lose.
Yeah.
You know, as is my
As
birthday.
is tradition. That's the way it goes.
Yeah. Their
I'm-
jersey sucks until they matter again.
What's the best one? Or do you want to do your worst?
So you picked the best, didn't you? The Montreal Canadiens?
No, that was just his review
Who's
of
your
all
best?
30.
Yeah. Well, let me do a whole bit. Suddenly,
Montreal.
Steve is a hockey guy.
Montreal.
Okay, so for me, the ugliest jersey, it may be the ugliest jersey in sports.
Ooh.
It exists in the NHL.
What?
And that is the Dallas Stars.
No.
The Dallas Stars have not had a good jersey since the Dallas Stars Cup jersey. That black and gold with the star and everything underneath it. They've had the one that says Dallas across it with the number. They've had the they now have the D with the star,
Yeah.
and then they have the
D-star.
glow in the dark D with the star.
That's ridiculous.
Their jerseys are ugly. Their reverse retros are ugly. The Heritage Classic jerseys are ugly. Everything about the Dallas Stars jersey. Do you remember the Dallas Stars jersey that had the ram head and a star?
The Mooterus.
The Mooterus. That was the ugliest. And then there's the jersey that's just the one that says Dallas across. The Modano era Stars jersey is the best Stars jersey. Why they ever switched? It looks good even now. There's no look at the rest of the. I got them all up here. Should I put them on my? Should I put this in?
That's just for audio.
That's just audio. Never mind. You won't be able to see it. So Steve, look, these are the ugliest effing jerseys.
Nah,
no one that's like your friend who wears like a blazer that's too loud, and you're like, that's too loud for you, bro, and no one tells them.
Dude, I'm just looking at all the jerseys around the NHL. 2 of them are green.
Yeah, but this is the ugly one.
Okay,
No!
which one's your best, Adam?
The best one for me, boy, I do love a Toronto Maple Leaf jersey. I think they're beautiful. I love the color blue. I do love the crest. Like the new Toronto Maple Leafs jerseys, objectively, are very pretty.
Yes.
Yes.
I also really, really like. Where is it here? I'm just trying to. The old school Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yep.
Penguin. That is, and I guess maybe I'm a little biased. My mom's from Pittsburgh. I'm from Toronto. But I love that jersey. And I actually, the Pittsburgh Penguins are one of those teams that if you go through every single era, they have not missed. The 90s penguin that was a triangle penguin was a really good penguin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not big on the powder blue.
I didn't even... maybe the powder blue's a little bit, but I get the throwback thing. I even like the Pittsburgh sash.
All their black and gold or black and yellow jerseys are great.
They're really, really well done. I think I'm going to go with Pittsburgh on that. And I think it's funny because Pittsburgh's won enough championships now. Philadelphia's up there too. That Flyers jersey is simple, and it's always been the same, and it's perfect. It's got that 70s vibe to it. It's perfect.
I'm going to give you my 2, and they're 2 you haven't mentioned.
Okay.
Best jersey, New York Rangers.
Oh, it's good.
It's really
think
good too.
That's delicious.
I think
Timeless.
it fits the team so well. The colors itself, it's the Rangers, it's America. And
They
then-
don't miss either.
No. It's
always
so
have a good
classic.
jersey. Yeah.
And then the worst one, Dion Phaneuf, Ottawa Senators. Why is the guy staring at you?
Oh,
on the front of your
Centurion
jersey?
looking at you.
Yes.
Right. And by the way, what's hilarious about the Senators logo is, historically speaking, that's a Centurion. That's not a. It's not a senator.
It's not a senator.
The senator
At
is the
all.
guy, the fat guy, the fat old guy in the robe,
Okay, nerd.
wearing purple.
I hate it. I hate the man who kind of looks like Dion looking at you on your chest.
Yeah.
I was wondering why you said Dion.
No, he looks.
Oh, he does.
Have you ever seen the Photoshop
Yeah,
of
he is-
Dion over the Ottawa Senators logo?
It's like Joel Quenneville in the Panthers logo. Yeah. Joel Quenneville is the Panther. So yeah,
Anyways,
no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
That's my least favorite hockey jersey.
Oh man.
right
Okay.
now.
So I hope you know what. How do we start this in the Discord chats? Do we put this? What chat do we limit this to? Because I would love to get people
on the we'll do it on.
Can we do a
the-
poll?
Yeah, we can do it. We can do a poll with all of the team emojis. We'll do it in the poll section.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I want
yeah.
to see. I actually want to see what wins best and worst.
Okay.
Can you
I'm
throw
really
that
curious.
photo up? The
Yeah.
photo that we were looking at, because the Sabres jersey from this past season, one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
The Navy one, fart. The one from this past season, really good. The Navy one, garbage. It is fart.
Fart.
Fart. It's navy blue. Navy is just blue maroon. Like I'm looking at the Coyotes and the Avalanche. I'm like, just wear red. Be the 10th and 11th team in the league to wear red. This is why I like Dallas wearing green.
There's nothing wrong with green.
There's
it's
9
the
red
logo.
teams.
The logo sucks. They've always been green. Look at that logo sucks. Come on.
I don't mind it.
That's a terrible logo. Come on. Okay, there's nothing creative about that. Well, what are we? We're the Dallas Stars. Okay, let's take the letter D. It's slapping on a star.
Adam's right.
Got it.
Adam's right.
Oh,
it's a terrible jersey.
It's a terrible jersey.
Yeah.
And I know Stars fans don't like it. No one's told the Dallas Stars. You got to be a good friend. Arizona, call Dallas. Somebody called. Who else is there? LA. You're a friend there. You're close by. You're a neighbor. Call them and tell them their jersey sucks. And tell them to change it.
You know whose jersey's too itchy? Like they just change it too much.
Who?
And it's annoying because they've had so many good jerseys. The frigging Ducks.
I was just going to say, I also don't love that crest. I know that's their Stanley Cup winning crest, isn't it?
Yes.
I don't love that at all. I've
also,
never
it
liked
takes up
it.
the entire damn chest.
Yeah.
Also, but it's kind of cool because it's supposed to be a duck fin. What is the correct
Foot.
word?
Yeah,
Foot?
it's a foot. And also, if you wear those jerseys in the wrong, I put one on before, and if you wear it in the wrong spot, it definitely pokes your nipples. Like that.
Well, you can't have that.
Oh, you
No,
can't.
no.
The Leafs jersey does that.
Thank
too,
you
actually.
for that tidbit.
I'm just saying, tidbit.
Oh no.
Anyway, we got to wrap it up because Steve's got to get home. But we want to know what your thoughts are. Ugliest jersey, best jersey. And actually, if you could take that picture and post it, Jesse, as well, because we were basing it on that one particular picture.
Yeah, it's in the video.
Okay,
People can
perfect.
see it.
Amazing.
Sabres fans are going to
Behind
be
us.
outraged because their new one is so good.
Yeah, but it isn't this one.
Last fart.
For
garbage.
sure. Anyway,
Fart garbage.
we love you.
sdpn.ca if you want to join the Discord.
And we are lining up some great guests for this month, as well as obviously talking about hockey, because as we went through a whole list of hockey things today, if there's someone like the hockey guy that you're like, you need to have this person on, I would love to see a crossover, please let us know. We'd love to know. Put it in the general chat on our Discord because we want to hear from you about that stuff. We want to give you that stuff. And I don't know why we didn't have the hockey guy on before, but sometimes you don't even think about what you don't think about, right? So anyway, that was great.
Oh,
and that was
gosh.
all because of you.
I didn't think we were big enough for him.
I didn't either.
You want to take two? You want to try and hit the post this time?
Oh, God. Here we go. So anyway. So I says to Steve, I don't even know what I had already wrapped the show, man.
You didn't give me the signal
Okay.
to hit the button.
All right. So from now on, what I will do is I will give you the signal to wrap the show.
Uh-huh.
But until then, we will see you next Tuesday. And by the way, these shows are getting posted earlier. YouTube.com/SDPN.
Hey, you did it!
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.